On the news tonight, Supreme Court gives verdict on Osun governorship dispute tomorrow. Human rights activist Falana accuses IMF, World Bank, and CBN of frustrating the country's economy. While on the foreign scene, political association in Mali opposes military government's decision on a new constitution referendum. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the major reports. I am Olubomi Ajiboye Agbola. The five-member panel of justices of the presidential election petitions in Abuja has warned against sensational comments over the tribunal's proceedings. The panel, presided over by Justice Haruna Simon Samani, also has Stephen Ada, Bolaji Yusuf, Moses Ugo, and Abba Mohammed as members. The presiding justice explained that the panel members will alternate their appearances in dealing with pre-hearing issues before the tribunal with the petitions of the first hearings to accommodate the petitions of the Action Alliance, Allied People's Party, and the Labour Party. The petitions of the Allied People's Movement and the People's Democratic Party will be taken tomorrow. Lead lawyers to Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, Wole Olanipekun, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, Chris Uche, Peter Obi of the LP, Levi Uzoku, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, AB Mohammed, have all pledged their cooperation with the tribunal for the speedy determination of the February 25 election. The petition jointly filed by Peter Obi and his party as INEC, Tinubu, Shetima, Kashim, and the All Progressives Congress as respondents. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has scheduled judgments for tomorrow afternoon in the appeal filed by former Osun State Governor Mr. Gboyega Oyetola against the election of Governor Ademola Adeleke. Mr. Oyetola is, by his appeal, seeking the reversal of the March 25 judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which affirmed Senator Adeleke's victory in the last governorship election in Osun State. The appeal court had, in its judgment, set aside an earlier judgment by Osun Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which held in favor of Mr. Oyetola and sacked Governor Adeleke. A five-member panel of the Supreme Court announced the time and date for judgment after taking arguments from lawyers to parties today. The National and State Houses of Assembly Election Petition Tribunal for Osun State commences tomorrow. This is contained in a release by the Tribunal Secretary Mohammed Audu Magaji, which was made available to newsmen in Osogbo, the state capital. According to the statement, the Election Petitions Tribunal will hear cases relating to the last National and State House of Assembly elections held in the state. It adds that the Election Petition Tribunal Panel 1 would have its inaugural sitting tomorrow at the Election Tribunal Building, High Court of Justice Complex, Osogbo, in the morning, while the second panel will have theirs on Wednesday, May 10 this year, and the venue is High Court Hall, High Court of Justice Complex, Osogbo. Members of the Hausa community in Ifor-Orolu have reassured Governor Ademola Adeleke and the People's Democratic Party in Osun State of their unflinching support at all times. The Hausa community gave the assurance during a special prayer organized by the group for the victory of the governor at the Supreme Court. Osbc reporter Oluchi Amoda reports.
The Hausa community in Ifor-Orolu local government area of Osun State, joined by the leaders of the group in different parts of the state, converged on the Sago Hausa Central Mosque in Ifor to seek divine intervention in the legal battle at the Supreme Court. Explaining the motive behind the gathering, the Osun State PDP Hausa Community Chairman Mr. Adu Garuba stated that the Hausa community in the state appreciates the numerous developmental projects Governor Ademola Adeleke has embarked upon since the inception of his administration without discrimination. He maintains that Governor Adeleke has proven that he can be trusted to paddle the affairs of the state, hence the reason the Hausa community is making a supplication for Allah to seal the mandate given to him by the people of Osun State at the July 16, 2022 gubernatorial election.
Well, we have been doing this thing. So we came here to Ifan, we come to Ifan just to show the love we have for our amiable governor. Because we know there will be a judgment at the Supreme Court, which we have been praying for since, and we know that by God's grace, we are going to emerge victorious. So that's why all of us are here, to pray for our amiable governor for the success at the Supreme Court.
Speaking in the same vein, the Seriki Hausa in Ifo-Orodu, Alhaji Suleiman Sabo, noted that the special prayer organized for the victory of Governor Adeleke at the Supreme Court has been an ongoing event, adding that they believe in the efficacy of prayer. Alhaji Suleiman, who was joined by other leaders of the Hausa community from different parts of the state, reaffirmed their loyalty and support to the Adeleke administration. Also speaking, the deputy youth leader of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State, Mr. Akintunde Lukman, said the PDP administration under the leadership of Governor Ademola Adeleke remains committed to meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people. He implored the people of Osun to continue to support the government with prayers and supplications to the Almighty for the progress of the state and victory of the party.
The Seriki Hausa community gathered to Ifan here to organize a befitting prayer for our excellency, the governor of Osun State, the executive governor of Osun State, Senator Roni Ademola Jackson, for the victory at Supreme Court cases, which we believe it will occur and it will happen, because Imale is for Osun. He brings peace, harmony to Osun people, and we have a lot of divisions of democracy that we have been enjoyed by this present government of Senator Ademola Adeleke, and we want it to continue, because Osun people we voted for him not by rigging, not by assault, not by anything. Imole is for us, and we are for Imole.
The event climaxed with special prayers held for the victory of Governor Ademola Adeleke at the Supreme Court and the success of his administration in Osun State. Oluchi Amuda, Osbc News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed a 12-member Northeast Development Commission Governor Board. One of the members includes the Director of the Humanitarian Affairs Department of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Alhaji Grema Ali. The President, in a letter addressed to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, asked the Senate to confirm the appointment of the 12 nominees as members of the Governing Board of the EDC. Human rights activist and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has accused the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank of conniving with the Central Bank of Nigeria to frustrate currency swap in the country and promote the dominance of the United States dollars. Mr. Falana, who described the alleged move of the IMF and the World Bank as economic sabotage, noted that the federal government has also continued to dollarize the Nigerian economy, while other nations are making arrangements to promote their local currencies. The legal luminary stated this in a statement titled "Why Nigeria Must Join BRICS," saying that recently the federal government and China entered into a currency exchange agreement valued at RMB 16 billion RMB or 720 billion naira. According to him, the aim is to provide adequate local currency liquidity to Nigerian and Chinese industrialists and other businesses, thereby reducing difficulties encountered in the search of the United States dollar, adding that the swap is also designed to improve the speed, convenience and volume of transactions between the two countries. Petrol consumers may pay about 8.4 trillion naira for premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, between July and December this year, once the federal government stops subsidy on fuel next month. The group chief executive officer, Nigeria National Petroleum Company, Mele Kyari, had stated that over 66 million liters of PMS is pumped daily into the markets by NNPC Limited to keep the country wet. He added that with a projected average cost of 700 naira per liter, once subsidy is removed, it implies that Nigerians will pay about 46.2 billion naira daily for petrol, which translates to approximately 1.4 trillion naira monthly and 8.4 trillion naira from July to December. The President, Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Association of Nigeria, Billy Gillis Harris, said if the refineries are not working and people are going to depend on imports, then the price of petrol may rise even above the 700 naira or 715 naira that is being projected. It will be recalled that the National Economic Council in Abuja asked the federal government to put the June deadline for petroleum subsidy removal on hold, pending the review of existing plans to provide palliatives for Nigerians. The National Youth Service Corps scheme should be celebrated for its remarkable achievements in the promotion of national unity and integration, development of education through its primary assignment and community development services in the last 50 years. The Director, Southwest NYSC Area Office, Mr. Julius Amonson, said this while declaring open the unity walk to kickstart the Golden Jubilee celebration of the NYSC scheme in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. Oluwatobi Loba Odunoga reports.
This was the mood of serving corps members in Osun State as they all trooped out in their numbers to partake in the unity walk marking the commencement of the 50th anniversary of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) to kickstart the chain of events that will last for 1 week. Declaring the unity walk open, the Director, Southwest NYSC Area Office, Mr. Julius Amushon, said the contributions of the NYSC scheme to national growth and development cannot be overemphasized, reiterating that the scheme have consistently been training and modifying Nigerian youth positively for 5 decades. He added that the NYSC scheme is not just celebrating 50 years of selfless service to humanity, noting that the scheme is committed and dedicated to nation building as well as developmental strides in all national spheres. Mr. Amushon, who enjoined corps members to continue to be good ambassadors of the scheme in all their activities, said they will continue to serve as role models to younger ones.
You will agree with me that NYSC has made giant strides in the last 50 years. When you look back, starting from 1973 when this scheme came into being, areas like education, healthcare delivery, social service campaigns, talk of national programs, NYSC have made a lot of impacts in those areas. And when you are talking about the fostering national unity, through this scheme, inter-ethnic marriages have occurred. People, we have seen mobility of labor. Those who have come here to serve, many of them have been employed, they've established their own businesses in the various states where they are posted.
Earlier in his remarks, Osun State NYSC Coordinator Mr. Agbo Undoma appreciated individuals and corporate bodies as well as governments and all stakeholders for their unflinching support for the progress of the NYSC scheme over the years. He added that lots of activities have been lined up to mark the Golden Jubilee achievement of the National Youth Service Corps scheme.
There are a lot of activities lined on. The first activity which we have just successfully conducted, which is Unity Walk. On the 17th, other activity will commence. We are going to have one lectures, we are going to have a symposium, we are going to have a lot of activities aligned, especially in the area of commissioning of projects and activities that have been executed by corps members. Then on Friday, we are going to have a Juma service. Then the week-long activities will end with a church service on Sunday.
The 50th anniversary unity walk of the National Youth Service Corps scheme in Osun State, which started from Osogbo NYSC Secretariat through some streets, was terminated at the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park in Osogbo. Oluwatobi Loba Odunoga, Osbc News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control is soliciting for the cooperation of stakeholders of the general public to rid the country of hazardous pesticides. The agency's Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said this in a statement issued to newsmen by its resident media consultant, Mr. Olushayo Akintola in Abuja. According to her, pesticides are applied both indoors and outdoors for the management of pests, vector-borne diseases, and for crop protection. Professor Adeyeye pointed out that pesticides are sometimes impregnated in textiles, paints, carpets, and treated wood to control pests and fungi. She pointed out that NAFDAC would collaborate with research institutes in the conduct of research and scientific data generation on pesticides to enable the agency make evidence-based decisions and policies. The NAFDAC boss also said that the agency would intensify post-marketing surveillance and nationwide, adding that there would be continual sensitization and education of relevant stakeholders on the safe and responsible use of pesticides. We now go on a commercial break. Major reports continues in a moment. Stay tuned.
Hey, this kid, how does it sound? 1,000. We go once play tire. Farabalẹ̀ now.
Madam, hello lówó wa.
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ah, 10,000.
These Glo people now, wow, 1,000 naira credit. Now it is also 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
Journalists have been charged to be professional in the discharge of their duties. A veteran journalist, Elder Sunday Odedele, gave the charge while featuring on OSBC Weekly Current Affairs program Egbeyewo in commemoration of World Press Freedom Day. Elder Odedele, who retired as the station manager, OSBC New Dawn Television Ibukun, described press freedom as the freedom of expression and safety of journalists, maintained that major challenges facing media practitioners in Nigeria is lack of proper enumerations. He noted that journalists in Nigeria have maintained a remarkable level of hard work and resilience, which have continued to play important roles in promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance. He, however, bemoaned the activities of those whom he described as social media journalists who use the platform to spread misinformation to the public. You are welcome to our sports segment. Golden Eaglets of Nigeria will face Burkina Faso in the quarterfinals of the ongoing 2023 CAF Under-17 African Nations Cup in Algeria. David Ojo has details of this and more.
Golden Eaglets of Nigeria will face Burkina Faso in the quarterfinals of the 2023 CAF Under-17 African Cup of Nations. Nigerian Football Federation had given semi-final and World Cup ticket as a target for Nduka Gbade-led Under-17 boys. This means Golden Eaglets must win Burkina Faso next Thursday to be able to achieve the feat. The 5-time world champions Eaglets will trade tackles with Burkina Faso for the semi-final ticket on Thursday, and all semi-finalists will represent Africa at the 2023 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. 20 Flying Eagles players on Saturday left Nigeria for Argentina to participate in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, which begins 20th May 2023. Head coach Lethan Bozo had submitted a 21-man final list to the Nigerian Football Federation, who in turn sent it to FIFA. The Under-20 World Cup organizer, FIFA, has given 10th May 2023 as deadline for submission of the final list of all participating teams. Nigeria had grouped in Group D with Dominican Republic, Italy, and Brazil. The 2 times World Cup finalists will begin their campaign against Dominican Republic before taking on Italy and Brazil in the second and third group games. The government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Youth and Sport Development, has finalized preparation to receive delegates from 21 Commonwealth African countries who will be attending this year's Commonwealth Youth and Student Summit for Africa region for the 8th and 12th of this month. The summit seeks to create an avenue where crucial conversation about strengthening and promoting the leadership capacity of youth and student leaders in the Commonwealth can be initiated and advanced with actionable outcome and with prime focus on the role students and youth leaders can and should play to realize their potential. The summit, which has been set aside as part of the program to mark 2023 Year of Youth, as adopted by the team co-creating our common future leadership in the digital age, and it will be held from May 8 to 12 at the Ladi Kwali Hall in Abuja. This is David Ojo reporting for OSBC News.
While on the foreign scene, a number of political associations in Mali have joined forces to oppose the military government's decision to hold a referendum on a new constitution. Olawumi Okanlawo has details of this and more from the foreign scene.
The referendum announced is a milestone on the country's path towards election promised for February after a coup 3 years later. The referendum had been previously scheduled for March 19 but was postponed. The coalition is demanding the cancellation of the decree to convene the electoral bodies because it considers the ruling authorities illegitimate. According to reports, the group points out that more than 2/3 of the territory is being plunged into generalized insecurity. Mali is in the throes of an 11-year security crisis triggered by a regional revolt in the north that developed into a full-blown rebellion. Meanwhile, wildfires in the Canadian province of Alberta continue to spread despite rain and falling temperatures. More than 375,000 hectares of land in Alberta have now burned down and more than 29,000 people have had to leave their homes. Some 31 of the 108 active forest fires were out of control, forcing Alberta to declare a state of emergency, and the declaration allows federal funds to be released to fight the flames. Head of the Alberta Wildfire Protection Authority, Christy Tucker, said during rain had helped with firefighting. It has given firefighters the opportunity to work on some of the fire areas that they could not get to because of the extreme nature of the fires. She said cooler temperatures and higher humidity were expected over the next few days. Experts warn that climate change will increase the frequency and intensity of forest fires. In another development, Ukrainian officials have said that 4 people in Ukraine have been killed in air attacks as Russia launched one of its biggest volleys of drone and missile strikes in recent weeks. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the overnight drone attacks hit 127 targets across northern, southern and eastern parts of Ukraine, killing 3 civilians. Serhiy Popko, head of the Kyiv City Military Administration, said 5 people were wounded due to falling drones debris. Ukraine had said Russian forces are making a final push to capture the eastern city of Bakhmut in time for Tuesday's Victory Day, the annual commemoration of the 1945 Soviet triumph over Nazi Germany. Olawumi Okanlawo, OSBC News.
And to end major reports, here's the recap of some of the top stories. Supreme Court has slated tomorrow for the ruling on the appeal filed by the former Osun State Governor, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, against the election of Governor Ademola Adeleke. We also brought you a report that the National and State Assembly Election Petition Tribunal commences its sitting tomorrow in Osogbo. Human rights activist and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has accused the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, of conniving with the Central Bank of Nigeria of frustrating the country's currency swap and promoting dominance of dollar currency. While on the foreign scene, we brought you a report that political associations in Mali have joined forces against the military government's decision to hold a referendum on a new constitution. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Adebari Jumakinde. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola, wishing you a pleasant night rest. Good night.